Hey everybody, I'm Curtis,
And I'm Hannah.
and this is Love at First Fright. I know we talked about it last time, but I'm sure now we sound even more different.
I was gonna say you're doing like you're doing like a sexy newscaster voice.
And tomorrow, or wait, no, sorry, one more, sorry. And tonight at 11, I'm a newscaster who only talks about stories that are going to come up the next day. Tomorrow at 11, he leaves you wanting more. You know, like
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, what's happening tomorrow at 11? Maybe
There's
I need to call
nothing
out of work.
sexier than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the
Oh,
news.
AM. Okay.
Yeah, no, PM. They work night shift.
Okay.
They're working graveyard.
Bless them. That's hard
Exactly.
work.
Yeah, exactly. No, we we're going to talk about it 2 episodes in a row, but we did the move and we had to
Yep.
scramble to get a setup going because I was like, oh god, and I had to completely reverse the setup of my computer, which is how we've been recording for forever, over one microphone, which has been, on one hand, it's great because we get to sit across from each other and look at each other in the eyes and say, this movie sucked.
Right.
And now we don't have to do that part. We can still say the movie sucked, but we're not sitting directly across from each other. Instead, we're in 2 separate rooms facing different directions, kind of talking to each other over
I'm
the
looking
void.
out a window.
Yeah, your view is nice. I have a wall.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I got a candle lit, so it's nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a fall. What is it? Autumn daydream. Because I'd be daydreaming of autumn right now. Because it's too dang hot. Anyway, all this to say is that
feel like I'm living
yeah. Anyway, but we part of this whole move is we were like, oh, we're getting a new room. Let's see if we can set up and record differently. So we're doing a different way to do a call. Now we're on 2 different microphones, and we can like sound kind of like professionals instead of just 2 dinguses screaming into a microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still doing that part, but it's just more professional sounding.
Yeah, 2 professional dinguses. Dingai, if you will.
Dingai, if you will. So, God, that ice is loud. Anyway.
It's very loud. Everyone knows you're having a drink.
Yeah, a crisp Diet Dr. Pepper.
I'm also having a crisp Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, nice.
But mine's in the can, so you can't hear shit.
Yeah. Anyway, this is exciting. So we're seeing, this is like it's kind of a test, as a beginning of a new era, I'll say, because I feel like we're gonna do this
when the podcast eventually hits terminal velocity, and we're on every cover of the Rolling Stones.
They just keep putting us on the cover.
And they're really into podcasts now.
They said, fuck this music stuff. That new sound you're looking for?
It's this, baby.
And it's just us being like, I don't know, I didn't like Krampus that much.
Krampus. Still our most controversial episode to date. But anyway, when the podcast finally gets famous, which is going to happen one day.
It's happening.
This is the episode that on Reddit everyone's going to say, start from here.
Yeah,
this is when their mic quality got good.
Yeah. Everything else sounds like 2 cats in the night yowling at each other. And you don't want to listen to it. But this, the content, importantly, the content does not get any better, but it's more listenable.
But you can hear it better.
Yeah.
You can hear the bullshit better.
Yeah. No, it other than this, it's been just a lot of unpacking still. I think we talked about it last time, but like it's just never ending unpacking.
Yeah, I got my room mostly unpacked today.
Yep.
Which is good. And I bought some furniture as well to fill out some of our spaces today. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. But oh, and I just remembered I threw all those boxes to the bottom of the stairs. I got to go move those. Or somebody's going to try to go down there in the middle of the night and die.
Yeah. Die.
Trip on the box.
Yeah, now that we have an unfinished basement, when we unpack something, we just open the basement door and yeet it.
Yep, and I say I'll take care of that later. And then I forget about
Yep.
it. But it's okay cuz who's going down there, you know?
Nobody's going down there.
Exactly. Anyway,
but a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah.
Bought a house. I just started a new job, same company but new position.
Mm-hmm. I think things are moving in the right direction, and I'm really happy about that.
Yep.
But I am pretty excited to talk about the movie that we watched.
I am also excited about it.
I had it was one of those ones that's like I keep seeing it, you know, whenever we're scrolling for movies, and I'm like, I gotta watch that. And then, you know, other stuff comes up or whatever. But we finally pulled the trigger and we watched it. Obviously, title of the episode, we are talking about Scanners. Yeah. It's a David Cronenberg movie, right? So it's weird, but it was a pretty good time.
It was.
We watched it over a nice pasta dinner.
Truly, it was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Chicken breast and red sauce. Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah. And some kind of pasta I can't pronounce. But
yeah.
And then you pointed out that
and that doesn't even get into the dinner we had. Ayo.
But it was fun. But yeah, no, I like this movie. Tell people what it's about.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So Scanners is a 1981 Canadian science fiction horror film written and directed by David Cronenberg of Cronenberg fame. You know him from other stuff, Videodrome, The Brood. He's a weird guy.
Yeah.
I had a hard time finding a great plot summary for this movie. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, I should really make my own. And now we're at the podcast. So I'm just going to read what the Wikipedia says. It says, in this film, scanners are psychics with telepathic and telekinetic powers. CONSEC, a purveyor of weaponry and security systems, searches out scanners to use them for its own purposes. The film concerns the attempt by Daryl Revick, a renegade scanner, to wage a war against CONSEC. Another scanner, Cameron Vale, is dispatched by CONSEC to stop Revick.
Yeah. That feels pretty good. I'm learning now there's a Scanners 2.
And 3.
There's a third one?
Yeah, they aren't associated with David Cronenberg, though.
Okay, that makes sense.
But, yeah, this is a Canadian movie, which is pretty cool. I feel like Canadian horror is kind of underrepresented.
I feel like whenever I learn a horror movie that we just watched is Canadian, I'm like, wow, it's cool. Because like, I don't know. I don't want to say like they're all good or whatever. I'm sure we've watched a Canadian one that hasn't been as good, but I feel like every time we watch one, when I learn that it's Canadian, I'm like, oh wow, this is like really good.
Yeah.
I don't know what Canada's doing with horror movies that just makes them good, but I guess Canadians get it or something.
They do. And little fun fact I learned about this. So part of the reason this was made, and it was made so quickly, is that there was like a tax shield for film investors during this era in Canada. Mm-hmm. I guess it was like, must have been close to when that was going to end. They like
get this movie
completely,
out now.
Yeah, literally, they rushed this fucking movie. The draft that was like given to people for like the first day was not even a script. It was just like a series of ideas. Mm-hmm. And they had 2 weeks of pre-production while the script was not yet written.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. And then Cronenberg, he's reported as saying that he would basically spend the morning of a shoot day writing the scenes and then would give them to the actors.
Insane. I think this is like a really good example of when you hear people talk about the kind of like the Wild West of movie making. being back then. And I think this is kind of really it, because I'm not saying this doesn't happen anymore, but it seems like it doesn't really happen this way anymore, because that's crazy that they
It
were like,
is
just start
crazy.
filming, we'll write it later.
We'll write it later, literally.
Yeah.
I just have to I have to talk about this because it made me laugh out loud the first time I read this. So Cronenberg stated that, quote, "The first day was the most disastrous shooting day I've ever had, as there was nothing to shoot and a distracted truck driver watching our film crew hit a car, killing 2 women inside of it." Which is not funny, rip to those women, but there's something about like the plot twist of like, oh, it was a terrible shooting day. There was no script. You know, we had nothing to go on. Also, 2 women died.
No,
It's
that's
so funny to me.
genuinely incredibly insane that this movie, I don't know, even got made. Hearing about
I
it sounds
know.
crazy that this got
It was like a
this
wish and a
finished.
prayer.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing is that this was the first Cronenberg movie to go #1 at the box office.
Mm.
And it was like one of I don't quote me on this, but because I didn't write it down, but I remember reading it was like one of the first Canadian made films to like rival American made films at the box office and like the international box office, which is really cool. So it had a really good, not necessarily critical reception, but like it was very well attended and people were coming out to see it. And it was one of the movies that kind of brought like body horror into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And now, of course, body horror, whether it's Cronenbergian in nature or their own unique spin on it, is like its own subgenre that is plentiful. And to think about this being kind of the starting of that is really cool.
I think there's like a lot of really interesting things about this movie, like when you get into kind of the fun facts about it that make the movie maybe more special, and I think deserving of the cult classic title that it now has.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
And we'll get into this when we like talk about our ratings to it. It's not like the best acted movie. Not all of the effects are the best, although there are some really cool like special effects in this, and I do want to talk about like a couple of two very specific scenes for some of the special effects and makeup and everything that they did. But like, you know, like the story is like kind of wild and meandering and a little crazy and weird, and I feel like sometimes they drop some random shit in there that you're just like, oh, I guess, okay, they can do that too, I guess, for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's probably a result of the film coming together actively as they're shooting.
No, and I think it's funny because like I didn't know that until you said it, but like kind of looking back on it now, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense that this is how that happened then. Because if they hadn't even, they just like in the morning is like, I gotta tie him getting back. He somehow infiltrated this other, you know, company, and now he has to take that knowledge and, you know, whatever. It's just like, what if he could hack computers too? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, he can do that.
What if? Yeah.
Whatever, man. Yeah, I guess they're not taxing us or whatever.
Oh yeah, before we get too far in, I do want to list out the main cast because I forgot to do that. So we have Jennifer O'Neill as Kim. Mm-hmm. We have Stephen Lack as Cameron, our main character. We have Patrick McGowan as Dr. Ruth. Mm-hmm. We have Lawrence Dane as Braden Keller, who's like the cop trader guy. Mm-hmm. And Michael Ironside as Daryl Revick.
Yeah. And I think Michael Ironside is kind of like the kind of show stealer in this whole thing.
He put his whole Ironside-ocy into this role.
Yeah.
And really stole the screen every time he was on it.
Yeah. Almost to the point where I'm like, I kind of want him to win.
Yes. And as hard as Michael Ironside acted is as little as Stephen Lack acted.
Yeah.
There's a reason this man's last name is Lack, and it's because he'll go on Girl Give You
Oh
Nothing.
my god. Is Lack is the one who played
Cameron Vale.
Cameron Vale? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that's fairly accurate. There's several scenes where he's like very insistently yelling about something, like he needs information or whatever, and just like the look on his face is like he's never acted before in his life. Like
He's dead
it
inside.
truly is like give us nothing. Like he's not overacting. It is literally underacting would honestly probably be a compliment. You know what I mean? Like it's like he's
Yeah.
not acting at all. He's just kind of there and reading lines. But where Michael Ironside is concerned, I mean, like he honestly he's like by far the best actor in this whole thing, and
Yeah.
it truly is like when he's on screen and there's anybody else there, you're kind of just like, I don't care about anyone else, just put him back on.
Yeah. Keep showing Michael
Yeah.
Ironside.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good. He's very commanding of the screen when he's on it, and I do really like that.
And I will say, because I know that I was just really mean to Stephen Lack, I will say that I think part of it might be attributed to an artistic choice that he is making, because he's meant to be this kind of like social outcast on the fringes of society
Sure.
that is literally like doesn't really know how to interact with people. And so I think there might be some artistic choices being made there of him being kind of like flat and reserved.
Sure.
But I feel like there's also a way to do that without it just your acting coming across as flat, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say that as a non-actor, so, take it for what it's worth.
No, I agree. There are moments in the movie where the scanning does happen, and it's not like an instantaneous process. It is referred to throughout the movie as like you can like turn your scan on or turn it off or release it, or target certain specific things with your scan if you are a scanner. And it's not just like reading people's minds. That is part of it. You can do that as
Yes.
a scanner. But it's also like there's a scene where Cameron Vale is first kind of learning about the fact that he is a scanner. He gets scooped up. They take him to this secretive place. It's Consec. And this doctor, Dr. Ruth, is telling him about these scanning abilities, whatever. Cameron Vale pretty much buys into it instantly, which I thought was, I guess kind of a choice. I don't know that I mean, I don't know if he's like a homeless guy and he's like eating other people's like leftover sandwiches, and then these people scoop you up, and like all he knows is like, oh, all I hear are voices in my head constantly, and then these people bring you in, and if they make that stop and they give you food, maybe then that's enough to just buy into whatever they're saying. But there's a scene where the doctor is trying to train Cameron Vale to use his scan,
Right.
and he has this yoga master or whatever come in, and he's like, he's proven that he's able to control his own heartbeat. So what I want you to do is I want you to use your scan to target his heart, not his brain. And I want you to make his heart beat really fast. And if it gets too fast, he will take over control and he'll slow his heart rate back down. And so you can use the scan ability to target specific parts of people, read their minds, and as we learn towards the climax of this movie, also apparently hack into computers over the phone.
Yes. The over the phone part was what really did it for me.
Well, that's not even like based out of like, that's not science fiction. There's whole things back when like computers were through phone lines and everything, where you could, if you knew certain codes and things. There was I can't remember his name, but there's a very famous guy who actually did this, and he could call in and he could hack into systems over the phone using like codes and stuff, and dial tones and stuff like that. Like, so it's not even like that part's not even science fiction. I think that the weird part is just everything up to that is it's all like human to human connecting, and biological, but then they just drop, you can connect to the computer
Right. And
using your
it's
scan.
all like just theory, because I don't think Dr. Ruth has ever seen anybody do it. He just throws it out there and he's like, well,
Yeah.
it's got a neural network. What
Yeah.
differences?
Your nervous
Yeah.
system, the computer has a nervous system.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could
Could
work. And I'm
work.
like,
Could be
yeah,
fun.
I guess. Yeah, and then you're very quickly reminded, oh yeah, this is a science
Yeah.
fiction movie, so of course that can work.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, the scanning is an interesting power. The prompt said they have telekinetic abilities. Did we see that? Like, did they move stuff with their minds?
I don't. Well, yes. It wasn't objects, but there's the scene where he goes to meet the artist,
Mm-hmm.
and when he's in there, and then I guess Revik sent these assassins to go kill this guy because he wasn't going to join him, whatever. And the guys show up. They don't know, or maybe they do know, that Vale is there, and Vale starts using his scan, and then he throws all of them using his
That's
scan,
true.
which that's telekinetic
Yeah,
abilities. That's
that's
not
true.
telepathy.
That's true.
So I maybe you could argue that hacking into the computer is also telekinetic. I don't know. They really made that seem more like it was telepathy, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but the scanning ability is pretty cool, and the implications of it
Yeah.
are interesting. Like I've never seen,
Yeah.
even though it was like maybe a little cheesy, whatever, like I've never seen the crossover of like, oh, you could use telepathy or telekinesis with electronics and like manipulate other things. Like it's usually always
Yeah.
person to person. So I thought like there was kind of some untapped potential there, which was kind of cool.
I like the idea of doing a psycho, powers or whatever, psychoactive powers, I guess. And like it's truly like you can use them on living things, and you can also use it on computers, because I feel like in a lot of media it's kind of like one or the other. Like you can read minds, but like that's it. Or you can use it to do like computer stuff or techie stuff, but that
Right.
like that's it. You're just using your mind for computer stuff. And usually it's not even like you're doing it with your mind. It's more of like you've implanted a chip into your head and now you can do it, kind of a thing. Like
Now
you've
you can
become the
control
machine.
the computer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think it is interesting how they did it. Like I don't know if there's other movies that came out before this that get into like, mind reading stuff. Maybe, I don't know. It's probably not into the level of this where it's like you can make people's heads blow up or whatever. But
Right.
I do think it is a cool way to go about talking about or showing some kind of telepathic, telekinetic abilities. I do think the way they demonstrate that people are scanning is really funny. There's one scene in particular, and it's the scene again where he's in the barn or whatever with the artist, and he's charging up his scan so that he can throw all these people. And while this is happening, they're like cutting from shots of the people using these guns to shoot the other scanner guy, and then that guy getting shot, and then they're cutting to scenes of Cameron Vale inside this little thing that he's hiding in or whatever, and he's like throwing his head around like very aggressively and making all these like contorted faces and stuff, but he keeps spiking the camera. And again, and that's 100% what they wanted him to do, right? Like they're trying to get these like facial shots of him, but every time he spikes the camera, it's the camera's always looking at him from below, and he like looks down at it and he has this face. It looks like he's like Zoolander. You know what I mean? Like he's like striking these like facial, but there's like the strongest acting is in this moment right there. It's so funny.
Yes.
I was trying so hard not to laugh at that moment because I was like, I don't think it's supposed to be funny. It is really funny.
It's honestly always funny whenever there's psychic abilities being portrayed on screen, because that's always what they do, is they have them like close their eyes and contort their face and turn their head side to side and open their eye real big with just one eye real big,
or like kind of squint, and like their eyebrows are like moving a whole lot, and it's like It's
Yep.
really funny. Yeah, you can always tell who the scanners are because it'll cut like to a close up of their face, and then their face is just going crazy. Uh,
Crazy.
it's a relatively fun movie. I would watch it again probably just because I feel like there's maybe stuff that like I would get on a second watch that maybe I didn't get on the first one. It felt faster than the movie said it was for me anyway. Like it kind of felt like we were moving along at a pretty quick pace there, and I think this is like it's over an hour and a half long, I think.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long it is, but I thought it went like it had a good pace. And I think a lot of that is down to the fact that they didn't really take a lot of time to explain like backstories,
Yeah.
or they did a lot of like showing, not telling, and so they were
Mhm.
able to keep it moving. And it was very rare for there to be just like dead time on screen,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think one of the reasons that it feels that way is because there is kind of a mystery that you're trying to like piece out over the course of this movie, and I think they actually do a really good job of withholding information not just from the audience but also from Vale's character, so you as the audience are truly like figuring stuff out with him, which I think is kind of
Right.
cool. And then you end up like finding out certain information about like Consec and this ripe program that comes up later on, and Dr. Ruth, and certain things about like his involvement with I think this drug ephemeral is what it's called, and like
Yeah, the drug is called ephemeral. That's the thing that they inject him with that like prevents his powers.
yeah.
But we learn that it can do more than that later
Yeah,
on.
because like at the top of the movie, you're kind of like, well, where did the scanners even come from? And they don't really get into that until way later in the movie. So you kind of have this like background question that you might be asking yourself, but then, you might also be like, oh, well, it's a horror movie. Maybe they're not going to get into it, but they do explain it.
Right.
It's a cool twist is like where it comes from. And it is funny because like at the beginning of the movie, when we're seeing this whole, well, probably the most iconic scene of the movie, right? If you have seen it, or maybe if you haven't seen it, the scene where Revik is like first introduced and they're in this like conference thing,
Yes.
and there's a guy up on stage and he's like, I'm a scanner. What I want to do is I want to scan everybody in the audience, but I want to do it one at a time. Do I have any volunteers? And everyone's kind of being like, a little
No,
shy.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, because I don't think they fully like know what to anticipate or whatever. And then this guy up in the audience raises his hand. They call him up, and then when he's up there, we learn that this is a scanner himself. You don't learn it until after, but he starts counter scanning, I guess, the scanner that's up there, and this results
Yes.
in, I think, one of like the coolest special effects moments that I've seen.
Like ever.
Yeah, it's awesome. He makes the
Yeah.
dude's head explode, and it's crazy when it happens. I
Yes.
actually wanted to like really quick talk about the head exploding thing because apparently they tried doing all of these different effects to get it to work, and the one that ended up actually working the way that they wanted it to was they had like stuffed the fake head with I think it said like leftover burgers and just like stringy stuff or whatever, just trying to like make it look, cool or whatever. And it was apparently a gelatin encased like plaster skull that they did. And they had all this, random stuff in there, and they couldn't get the explosives to like make it go off in the way that they wanted. And this guy, I want to give him a shout out because it ended up looking sick as hell. His name's Gary Zeller, and he was the special effects supervisor. He finally tells everybody to, like, all the crew to just roll the cameras and then get in their trucks with the doors and windows closed. And he gets down behind the dummy and he shoots it with a shotgun.
Which I just want to know, why did they have a shotgun on set? Like, don't you need some fucking like firearms safety officer before you just bring a shotgun on? But no, it was the
It's
80s.
so good. And it genuinely is such a good effect when it happens. It is gross. It is so disgusting. It's like one of the things you think of when you hear the name Cronenberg, where you're like, oh, it's just like over the top kind of
Over the
insane.
top. Yeah.
No, I love it. And apparently that scene, they trimmed it down to get an R rating. So like if they hadn't have done that, I think
Wow.
it was going to be like an NC-17 or some shit. Like they were not going to. So,
Crazy.
and I think
Yeah.
Cronenberg wanted it to be the opening of the film.
I had read that too, that scene was originally the opening scene.
Yeah, which it kind of sucks. Sometimes they have director's cuts and you're like, we didn't need this. This is one of those times where I'm kind of like, let me see it.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it at the beginning and let me see what that looks like. Because I think pacing wise, it actually makes a lot of sense to be the beginning, because then you get introduced to Revik right at the top. You kind of see what kind of mischievous stuff he gets up to. He's probably the best demonstration early on of like the powers that these scanners have, because
Right.
he makes the guy's head explode and then he tries to get away, and they tackle him and everything, and they're going to go like inject him with this ephemeral to turn off his scanning powers. But as they're going to do this, Revik like starts scanning the guy that's going to inject him and makes the guy inject himself. Which, don't worry, we get explained to later that if you're a normal human, being injected with ephemeral doesn't apparently do anything to you.
Yeah.
So that guy's fine. And so
Thank God.
they think Revik is just like a normal guy now and his scanning powers are turned off. But then he's like being transported in a car and he scans the driver of another car that's in this convoy and makes it crash. And then he takes advantage of the situation. He gets away and he like, in the span of whatever it is, like we'll say an hour, he ends up like killing like 6 people or something. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. He's
Yeah, it's
destructive as
crazy.
hell. Well, and one way he uses his scanning, which I thought was nuts, was after he crashes the car, the like security guy who was escorting him out, he scans him and makes him shoot himself with a service weapon, which is like, okay, that's another thing scanners can do. They can force you to do things.
No, it was he's a really compelling villain too. Especially when you learn later about, because again, this is like this whole mystery, right? Like Consec scoops up Vale and they're like, we need you to go after Revik, and Vale kind of is just like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll do it, because it's not like I'm doing anything else. So
right. Yeah, I've got literally nothing else going on.
Yeah, so they go to send him. He goes to Europe. There's this whole weird scene in a art gallery. He meets other scanners throughout all of this, and he's like, this is where it starts to kind of unravel that like Consec is not necessarily being the most upfront with him about things. One of which is like, I don't know if they tell Vale, but they're certainly talking about it at a meeting that they're having right after the whole Revik thing. About Ruth says or alludes to that there's like 200 and some odd scanners in the world.
Right.
Then we don't really get any like clarification as to like, well, how does he know that? How do we know that? And how has he been able to track them, and why are they not here if he's just, if he does know their names and this, that, the other. And again, it's one of these really cool things where by the end of the movie, there's a really cool twist. And you do find out, how and why he has these names. I'm trying not to spoil it, because I do think it's one of those things that like, I would really like people, if you haven't seen it, to go watch it, because like, yes, it's got Cronenberg body horror, which is, gross and cool and over the top and everything. But also I think the mystery is actually kind of a cool mystery in there, where I think you even had a little gasp at the end where you were like, like, I think it kind of got you. And I was like, oh, wow, that's actually really good that happened.
Usually I can figure stuff out,
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, they don't explicitly tell you. There's not like a piece of like, newspaper clipping or something that you can point to on a rewatch and be like, oh, it was right there. That's how you would know it. So nobody's like explicitly telling you, but you can also kind of reason it out if you are taking all of the clues together. And like when they do give you the final piece to it to reveal what the mystery is there, you're like, oh, wow, that actually does make sense.
Yeah. No, it was a pretty cool mystery. And I do think you can figure it out. You might have to take some jumps in logic in order to figure it out, but I don't think that's a problem. That's a good mystery. It's like they leave you the breadcrumbs, but then you have to take some leaps of faith at the same time.
Yeah. I do want to give a special shout out to the makeup artist. His name is Dick Smith.
Great name.
Yeah. But he did work on The Exorcist and Amadeus.
Nice.
And he specifically provided the prosthetics that they used for the kind of the climactic scanner duel.
Yeah, this whole thing, without getting into the why and all of that, but the whole thing culminates in a big face off between Revik and Vale, where they're both using their scanning powers against each other. And there's a lot of cool special effects work
Yeah.
during this scene because they're like manipulating each other's like
Yeah.
veins and skin and all this stuff that is pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
And you're kind of going back and forth of like, are either of them gonna make it out of this fucking thing? Because they're tearing each other apart.
It's wild because it's like it just keeps going back and forth, and like you're getting these body horror things that are happening, like these veins bulging and like, you know, there's so much pressure that like blood spurting out of them, and you know, whatever, somebody catches on fire just because. And I think it's so cool because like again, they're kind of just standing there staring at each other, making these like faces and everything, but it is really compelling to watch. To me, it gives a lot of the same kind of vibes as like kind of the climax of Late Night with the Devil, where all of that stuff is happening and like people's heads are just like exploding and shit. Like
it's just popping off crazy.
Yeah, like it's just kind of going crazy, and it's just like it's just fun to kind of look at and watch.
Yeah, totally. And then there's another little twist right at the end before credits roll.
Oh yeah, there's literally just like one more twist, which is like really weird. And then they don't spend any time on it. Like it literally, they have it and then the credits roll and then you're kind of just left like, so what does that
mean? Right. Like, so what?
How is that
so what's next for them?
Yeah. Where are we going from here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very cool movie. If you're at all into body horror and you haven't seen this, you really should, because it's got some great special effects work in it, and I think it's just a fun story. It's interesting. I think there's some kind of cool themes going on. Like anything with body horror always brings up questions of like bodily autonomy to me, which I think continues to be really relevant today. So, and you know, I'm always that person that brings it into like the political, because that's what fascinates me about horror. Like I think horror is very political by nature. And I think a lot of what horror deals with are these big themes that are going on in society. Like there's a reason that right now we're seeing a lot of motherhood horror and like pregnancy horror. Yeah. And I think you can directly tie that to like Roe v. Wade being reversed and all that stuff. So I've always found it fascinating, body horror in particular, as an analogy for bodily autonomy and like protection of self, like from the government or corporate interests or corporate interests. So I think there's like some good commentary happening also, in addition to just like a fun mystery and a fun movie. Yeah, no, really, I think that hits the nail on the head. It's similar to like how if you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Like I think it's a great horror movie. We talked about it on the show, and like it did all of this like foundational stuff for horror and set up like all these things that are now used as like tropes and everything in horror. But also it's a commentary on like the meat industry. Like there are certain shots that were like explicitly and deliberately done to make you question like, hey, why is we're saying it's like messed up here, but like why is it okay when we do it to, you know, X in this, in that case animals or whatever. But and in this case, you know, where it's very much tied to like corporate use of these people and like how it could benefit these different, you know, corporate entities and everything. I mean, like literally the whole meeting at the beginning when they're talking about after Revik, you know, first shows up or whatever, they're talking about these like programs and like shutting things down. And I think the implication of like trying to use these people in maybe military ways or something like that. So there's like a level of like military industrial complex and like, you know, contract work for like the government, and like how do we use these, you know, weird programs, and what lengths are people willing to go to just to make money or whatever. Like it's all very interesting and very cool, and also just like, I don't know, it's gross and weird. It is gross and weird.
Just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you ask like what is going on, but like in a in a fun way, but not like how Uncle Sam made us ask what is going on. They don't introduce
Right.
like a random wheelchair bound blind kid,
Actually,
you
I
know,
think
three
that's what the
quarters of the way
movie
through the movie.
needed. I think
Yeah. If there was one criticism of the film, it's that there wasn't.
I think when Cameron and Kim get brought in to CONSEC headquarters for questioning, I think instead of having Keller come in and question Kim, it should have been a guy in a wheelchair. Comes in,
Yeah.
he's blind, he's in a wheelchair, he's got a gun, and
Yeah. Of course he does.
and they just don't mention it.
And he's also a scanner.
And he's a
like,
scanner. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Kim would be like, how are you even shoot me? You can't see. And he's like, I'm scanning the gun. I'm using the gun as my eyes.
Whoa. That would actually be crazy.
Then he can do that.
Yeah.
And
then he shoots her.
Yeah. Well, he tries to. He can't shoot her because then
she could have like a gunshot wound in her leg for the rest of the movie.
Oh yeah, she's limping.
Yeah, she could just be limping.
Yeah. I guess that's fair.
I think that would have been sick.
Let's talk about our ratings of the movie, and then maybe scariest moment.
Perfect.
Which I think is going to be pretty easy in this one.
All right. So
for ratings, I think again we were actually pretty close on this. I was, I think, a little higher than you.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say our shared thing was the visuals of this movie. I think we both gave it 9s.
We did. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I gave it a 7.3 and you gave it a 7, which means it's a 7.2 in our book.
Yep.
I don't know that it's particularly scary unless you're really averse to body horror.
Yeah. I gave it a 5, and that 5 was basically a reflection of like there is some gore and stuff like that might be frightening. Again, I'm a little bit desensitized, so like while it's still cool to look at for me and I still get excited about practical effects, I'm not necessarily scared of them. It's more like that intellectually curious about it, you know. But I still gave it a 5 because to me a 5 is like scary in the right context or scary to some.
Sure.
So
in a very similar vein, because I think that that's spot on, but I gave it a 6.5 only because that ending climax scene where they're having their little duel or whatever is it's pretty long, and the body horror stuff that like keeps popping up in it is just like, oh my god. Like it kind of just keeps happening.
Yeah, that movie, that scene rather, not that movie, was very visceral.
Yeah. It like if you are averse to it, that probably is going to be harder to watch than the head exploding scene. I think the head exploding scene is honestly more cool than it is scary. I mean, it's bloody, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it's just really cool.
Yeah, it's cool to look at, and it's cool to think about like how they got to that point, you know, and like the special effects that made it possible. Yeah. And but they don't linger on it, you know, it's a quick shot.
Yeah. The climax battle, there's a section where one of them is like peeling off their skin.
Yes, like, and blood is spurting out, and
it's truly it's really gross.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then I gave it a 7 for entertainment, which I think you gave it too. Like it's fun. It's definitely like a good movie. I've seen worse. I've seen way worse movies than this.
Yeah, I gave it a 7 because I did find it entertaining. Like I did find the mystery of it entertaining, and I felt like it had good pace and everything. Yeah. But there were just some imperfections with the movie, like the acting and some of the scenes, you know, felt like they were maybe unnecessary or not as polished, which now we know is kind of a reflection of the production process. Yeah. But I think there were just little things like that prevented it from being a little bit higher. Yeah. It's not like gonna have you on the edge of your seat. No. You know, can't wait for the next thing to happen kind of entertaining. Yeah. So like 10 is a pretty high bar for me.
Yeah. It's really interesting because I think the head exploding scene is definitely body horror, and I think the climactic part of end of the movie is also very much body horror. But I think everything else in between those 2 points is more of a drama than it is anything else. Like it's a slow,
like a thriller.
Yeah, almost like a thriller more than anything else. Like, you know, there's a whole car chase segment which is
Yeah.
typically more like action movie oriented than it is anything. I mean, it's not like, don't get like too excited if you're like really into car chases. It's a pretty short thing or whatever. But like,
Yeah, there's a lot of shotguns that nip that in the bud pretty quick.
yeah. But yeah, it's, I don't know. It's just like, it is definitely a horror movie, but it leans more like thriller or drama more than I think maybe like a typical horror movie would. It's almost like some of these newer horror movies that are coming out where like there's
Some of these
yeah,
newfangled
newfangled
horror
ones
movies.
where it's, as much about like the relationships and like the drama aspects of it as it is about like the horror and
Definitely.
everything, which is, it's kind of
Definitely.
cool to see a movie from 1981 having that kind of nuance, especially one that was basically being written as it was being shot. That's wild.
Yeah. I have one brief thing that I just thought was fun.
Yeah.
So Jennifer O'Neill, who played Kim, I was reading in the Wikipedia that apparently when she was given a more fleshed out script that had like the gore in it and stuff, that she literally cried reading it because
Oh,
she thought it was so disturbing.
oh, oh boy. Yeah.
And then I mean, but she does a great job in the movie, and it makes me wonder if like some of her like horror and shock and stuff was genuine, because she just seems like such an empathetic soul that like she would cry over that.
I mean, like her character in the movie, like I actually, I would fully believe that. Like if somebody told me that that was the case, like it suits her really well. Like hearing that, you're like, oh yeah, that's the character she's playing. She is
Exactly. Like she's
upset
just a
by
gentle
these things.
soul.
Yeah,
Yeah, the horrors of the world.
yeah,
But anyway, I just thought that was fun.
yeah.
Scariest moments. I mean, I think the two biggest ones, obviously the head exploding and then the big duel at the end.
Hmm.
I'm going to say, just because I'm freaked out personally, I have a personal fear of burning alive. It's like
Yeah,
a huge fear of mine. And so I was really freaked out by the special effects on the charred corpse
yeah,
because, spoiler alert, one of them does get charred to a crisp
yeah,
at the end.
yeah.
Not saying who, but But there's like this kind of prolonged scene where Kim like comes upon the corpse and is like inspecting it in horror, trying to figure out what happened here.
Hmm.
And so they like linger on it for a while. And just the idea of like burning to that point
Yeah,
is again, it's a personal fear of mine. So it's not like jump scare scary,
yeah,
but it did get me thinking about burning alive. And so that made me a little nervous.
yeah. For me, I think it's the whole climactic battle, the duel that they have at the end. Is I think all of the body horror stuff that comes on display there, how long it goes on for, the fact that it's like really back and forth to the point where you and I both were
Hmm.
just like, I don't, are either of them gonna even be okay? And like you start seeing more and more stuff, and
Right.
you're like, are we sure? Kind of
Right. Is this
like
how it's gonna go?
yeah,
Is this gonna be one of those and it was all a dream things,
right.
you know?
And
Which it's not. It's not.
no,
It's not.
yeah, no, it's not. That would be so lame. But during the duel, I'm not going to spoil the result of it or whatever. But like we were talking about, like the veins being like bulging and stuff. But like more than just like how like when somebody's really angry, it's like this grotesque, like almost like a growth. It starts to look like, and it's like discolored and everything.
Yeah. Fully 3D popping out. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like there's so much pressure that gets built up, and this is on Cameron, that this is happening to, but like it literally, like it pops and just like a little spurt of blood is just like continuously shooting out of it. It is so disturbingly gross that I'm just
Yeah, it's
like,
very
oh my
gross.
God. Good thing we'd finished eating by that point, because I don't
I
know.
know, right? Our
Yeah.
red
I
sauce.
looked
Yeah.
down at the plate and I was like, I don't know that I want.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think in general that last scene is probably the scariest part and the most
Yeah.
exciting part. So way to bring it home,
Yeah. It's
boys.
really good. I don't know that I have too much else about this movie to say. You should watch it. You should definitely watch it.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it, and this makes me want to go and explore more Cronenberg movies. I've only seen a couple, including this one, so I'm curious to see what else is out there in his filmography
Yeah.
or his son's, because his son also makes disturbing
Yeah.
movies.
I want to watch Videodrome and The Fly, I think.
I've seen Videodrome and I've seen The Fly.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two I've seen.
Yeah.
I would revisit either because they're both
Wait, but
great.
you've seen A History of Violence, though.
Yeah, I have seen that too. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that was one of his.
Yeah. It is.
Okay, so maybe I've seen more of his than I thought. I've never seen The Brood. That's one that comes to mind, and people talk about that one a lot. So
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. But that one, I don't know. That one looks like it's got some sauce, maybe.
Some
Looking pretty
sauce.
good. Body horror, loving
Yeah,
it.
Videodrome has a lot of body horror in it too,
I've heard. So that'd
and
be
it's a little sexy too.
yeah. I think that's kind of like par for the course, right? Like I don't body horror. I think you kind of have to be a little because
A
like
little
part of it
sensual
is going from that. Not in every case, right?
to
Like I
yeah.
wouldn't say that this movie was particularly
It would be low
sensual
on
or
the
whatever.
horniometer.
Yeah, I think a lot more like because like the substance or whatever is very much playing with that. Which I don't,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's not obviously not a David Cronenberg thing, but it's Cronenbergian. I would argue.
Right.
Where can people reach out to
So
us?
you can connect with us on social media. We're at First Fright Pod on Instagram and X. We also have a Facebook page. It's just the name of the podcast, Love at First Fright. Or you can send us an email. It's firstfrightpod@gmail.com. You're welcome to send us your suggestions, your feedback. Do you like this new mic setup? Is it sounding extra crisp? Is it turning you on?
Okay.
Maybe not that.
Do you like that?
Do you
you
like
like
that,
this?
you little freak?
You little freak.
You little pervert freak? Someone did like that. Someone somewhere is like, yes, this is the content I've been waiting for.
Somebody listened to it and said, "I can't let them know." I do like it, but I'm not reaching back out to them.
I can't look them in the eye,
Mm-hmm.
and not after what I've done.
Not after the sins I've committed.
Yeah, but let us know what your thoughts are. Do you like David Cronenberg? Are you a body horror fan? Should we do some more Cronenberg on the pod? We haven't selected our next episode yet. It's not too late to send us a suggestion.
Yeah, if you're real fast about it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna pick something on Shudder.
Yeah, and it might be bad.
It'll probably be bad because it'll probably be whatever new VHS film is out or whatever.
Yep.
Anyway, well then, as always, scare well and see you next time.
Goodbye. I'm scanning you.
I'm counter scanning.
Oh no, he's counter scanning me.
Counter
My
scan.
veins in my forehead are bulging. My head's gonna explode. It's exploding.